What was interesting at the conference today, there was quite a lot of discussion about what sort of skills do we need to design learning resources that are going to be useful in fostering students' work-based learning competencies. And there was discussion about whether we needed a high-tech person or whether the discipline-related academic needs to have more technical skills. Where will we get the help from? And it's an interesting question because most universities do have media technologists or educational developers, educational designers who can, who don't necessarily have a discipline background but have very high-tech skills in the affordances of technology and the design of high-quality learning activities. And I think the trend is to move these people into faculties so that they are closely aligned with faculty interests and understand the discipline areas, and hopefully also understand the work-based learning issues from those discipline areas. I think that the ideal world, I mean, today it was presented as a bit of a dichotomy. I mean, do we need this or do we need that? Well, actually we need both. The ideal is that we have discipline-related academics who have highly complex digital literacies as well as authentic work-based learning experiences, and that they can get support from educational designers and media technologists to make the best products that are most useful to our students. I think simulation, some people say, oh well, is the virtual learning environment, is the virtual learning space going to replace the actual learning environment? You could never really replace what you get from face-to-face experience. But I would say that it's not about replacing, it's about supplementing, it's about scaffolding a student. So for example, with simulation, you may want to simulate the laboratory skills, or you may want to simulate the health skills that the student needs to then bring to the laboratory or bring to the practice at the university. This means they're not rolling up cold on the first day. They've had a simulation in which to practice. Similarly, afterwards, being able to practice and build on the skills that you learnt in the face-to-face or the actual physical learning experience by using the virtual world to consolidate what you've learnt. I think there are many ways that you could use simulation and role play. Role play in particular is a great avenue for exploring the ethical dilemmas of the profession. Putting yourself in the shoes of someone else, not the professional that you're about to become, but maybe your client, and experiencing it from the other angle. So delving into the ethics in a way that perhaps is harder to do in a face-to-face learning environment. For example, role play is a recognised teaching technique, but it's quite hard for people to do in a face-to-face environment. I know myself that if I have to do a role play, I'm not very good at it. I tend to giggle a lot or lose my character. Whereas if I do a role play in an online environment, I can hold my character for much easier because no one's seeing me. I'm just typing in character and reflecting in character, and I can take time to construct my reply. So it's a good practice environment before I have to leap into doing, I suppose I must do at some stage, a face-to-face role play if I'm practicing to be a professional. For example, if I'm going to be a teacher, I must eventually go into the classroom and do it. But if I can practice that in a safe environment, an online environment of a role play or a simulation, that will build up my confidence a lot more. One of the interesting things I saw at the conference today was a presentation by a keynote, John Harlan from Otago University, who finished his presentation with a discussion of the need for us to move to slow scholarship in imitation of the movement for slow cooking. But he also mentioned slow sex, slow tourism, and a whole range of slow photography and a whole range of other movements that build on slow, that we need to resist the move to fast education, like fast food, and allow time for people to develop their skills, to develop their understandings, to develop their critique of the discipline that they're studying. I thought this was a very memorable thought for us to take away from the conference.